Good morning. What if I told you that trying something new could increase your happiness? That's what we're going to talk about today. This is Love Intelligence number 24. I know it said 25. We need to adjust that. 24. Awaken to trying something new. I guess I should get that title out. Change is hard, and I understand that change is hard, but also we want to keep the spirit of change fresh in our minds as we grow and learn and navigate this world and this life. And when we think about change, compared or in connection with love intelligence, what it does is it opens up your mind to have so much more free flowing of receiving, because when we are not changing, we're locked in. So when we think about awakening to trying something new, we get in a state of habit. We formed all these habits. That's what most of our life is all the habits that we form. And in forming all those habits, it can breed stagnation. What happens is you have created a habit of doing things, of going through, and habits are good. Habits can be very good for the brain. Habits get you into a place of not having to always use all of your brain power to do something. Often habits lead to operating in flow, and all of that can be good. But when you get to the place of habits keeping you from growing, or habits keeping you from trying something new, or habits turning into the fear of something, that's when it becomes a challenge. So during the pandemic, the habit that I created was being at home. Most people created that habit, but I know some people who didn't, and that's okay. They was out living their best life. But I created a habit of living at home, of not really being as social. And that has bled over into now we can go out. Now we can do things. But I found that I was not being social. I will be at just walking, even out in public. And normally I am bubbly. I contact those who were in like a boss challenge, know this from the Geisha Girl Gaze. I do it all the time, made everybody feel good. But now I will barely look people in the eye. And this habit has made me stop having connection. There's a level of connection that you have while you're out in these streets, even if you're not talking to someone. I had allowed the habit of being home, the habit of not talking to people, the habit of thinking the worst of everyone, dude, everybody's got COVID in my mind, get in the way of me having those joyous moments when I was out. So what I did is, just having this in my consciousness, I understood that I had really moved into kind of having a fixed mindset to certain things. And I want to talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset. I've talked about growth and fixed mindsets before, and I'll start with fixed mindset, which I had kind of started moving into. But with the awareness, I decided to make that shift. Let's just say life is easier when you make that shift. So the fixed mindset, if we're talking about it from a leadership perspective, because that's when I was really leaning into it, when I was building the team for Love CEO Institute and understanding the only way that I can grow this business is if I am in a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So leading so they can look smart. You know, when I first started my business, I had a lot of insecurities, and there were things that I was doing. And I think I wanted people to know that I know what I'm talking about, and so the focus is just a little off. So lead so they can look smart, avoids challenges or gives up easy. I went into a depression when I first launched my first course and nobody bought anything. And I literally did not do anything for the next 5 months. I'm giving you examples of myself in the past of having this fixed mindset. Sees effort as fruitless. I think when that happened, where I was not having the traction that I wanted in the business, and it sends you into a spiral, or something's going on in your life and you just say, well, it's not even worth it. It's not worth putting in the effort. That's a fixed mindset. Ignoring useful or negative feedback. Sometimes that's tough. getting the negative feedback or the constructive criticism, which I'm open to. I always tell people in our academy in the Love CEO program, let me know. I'm open to the tough conversations of maybe times aren't working for everyone. And I know we won't be able to satisfy everybody, but I would like to know, because what that allows us the opportunity to grow. Feels threatened by others' success. That's also a fixed mindset. And I'm going to get to the point of awakening things that are new and fresh in just a quick second. And when you are in a fixed mindset, you never achieve your full potential. That's kind of one of the scariest things I think I've ever thought about in my life, when they say, what's your fear? And my greatest fear is never achieving my full potential. Now, when we have a growth mindset, and why we're talking about awakening to new things, and I'm talking about fixed and growth mindset. Well, when you awaken to trying new things, and when you decide I'm going to try new things, and when trying new things is a part of your life, then you will more than likely always be in a position to have a growth mindset. That is why you want to awaken to trying new things. I'm going to talk about the benefits of trying new things in just a moment, but let's go into what growth mindset. Growth mindset, you lead to learn. You do things so that you can learn. You have conversations so that you can learn about individuals. Not necessarily the argument so you can look smart, but actually the conversation so you can learn the inner thinkings or inner workings of someone's mind and the people in front of you. Especially if you're in leadership, especially if you have a corporate job and you're working with a lot of other people, or even working with your clients. Are you having conversations with your clients so that you can look smart? Or are you having conversations so that you can learn? That's a good question. So you embrace challenges. Trying new things is not always going to be easy. It's not going to be perfect. Oftentimes when you try new things, it's clunky because your brain has never done this thing before. So your brain has to search and find the paths of, how do I do this? What am I doing? It might be a little clunky in the beginning, but believe me, you will reap all the benefits in the long run. You persist with a growth mindset. You persist in the face of setbacks. Just like I was talking about the times when I create something and it's not getting the traction that I wanted. What do I do about that? Do I say, oh, I put that thing out in the world, nobody wants it? Or do I keep moving and keep plowing ahead? You persist in the face of setbacks. You see effort as a path to mastery. This list comes from Dr. Carol Weck. You learn from criticism. So if someone comes to you and says something doesn't look right, or you made me feel this way, or you learn from it. I'm not saying to internalize other people's problems. You find lessons and inspiration in other people's success. Because I've been there where, especially when I first started acting, I would see other people or people that I came along with and that I was in auditions with, and they're like in movies and on television, and it would make me feel some kind of way. Now I'd be like, yes, girl, get it. Like, I'm so pumped up about it. And I feel like there are lessons and inspiration that I can see from watching my friend get her own television show. That's unbelievable to me. But there was a time when I didn't like it. There was a time where I had a fixed mindset and I would feel threatened that this person did that. There's not enough space for me. That I got rid of that a long time ago. Now I'm just like, what's mine is going to be mine, and I'm inspired by seeing other people winning. And when you are in a growth mindset, you have higher levels of achievement. Now, how do you get into a growth mindset? Being in a space of trying something new will get you into a growth mindset. And understanding these layers and these steps will keep them in the forefront of your mind. I understand that if you have created this beautiful life with beautiful habits for yourself, and some habits are great and some habits aren't so great, that making the change, you could have a little bit of fear around that. And that is a thing, that there is a fear of trying new things. It can breed anxiety for some people. If that is you, I highly recommend working with a therapist. I highly recommend diving into journaling, depending on what level you are at with that. I highly recommend jumping into something new and seeing what happens. But definitely, if there is a major fear and there's a lot of anxiety, then I would encourage you to work with a therapist. And I have my own therapist, and I work with my therapist on building my business and not wanting to hide, and even in my personal relationships. So in trying new things, and I think about when I had never done solo traveling, which is really interesting. And so, because I've had the habit of not traveling solo, and because of the fears of other people, I had taken on a fear that people who travel solo get sex trafficked. You know, people who travel solo get roofied. And that is not true. Of course, it's not true. There may be situations where that did happen. There are situations where you in a group and you get roofied. But I had to shift that out of that fear. And when I took my first solo trip, I was on edge for a little bit, but then I took the second one, and it really balanced me out. And so that very first time you do something, you might not feel good immediately. This is not like, oh, I'm selling you a pipe dream and you're going to go out and do all these things and it's going to feel all fabulous. It might not feel good in the beginning, but it's going to serve you in the long run. And so in order to bust past that fear, I want you to understand what's on the other side of trying something new. So I'll give you the list of what trying something new can do for you. And psychologists have researched this. A lot of positive psychologists research this. Sean Ankar, who's a Harvard scientist who studies the science of happiness, has researched this. And they have come up with ways that you can move into trying new things. And then they've also broken down what's the benefits of it. And I know I've reaped the benefits, so I want to give that to you. All right. So we know that trying new things will help you shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And a growth mindset helps you get to a place of realizing your greatest potential. Then trying new things increases your happiness. Science has proven that. It's not just me saying it or hearing it or reading another inspirational story, but it has proven to increase your happiness. All right. So trying new things. I want you to think about what you're going to try new, what's coming up. And it could be an old thing that happens to be new again. I think you can take those. I'm about to start doing hot yoga out in these streets. I haven't done hot yoga in about 5 years, maybe. But I'm about to do hot yoga in these streets, and it's going to be a new thing for me. Okay. It will shift you out of autopilot. And that's what's healthy for the brain. Habits are great. But also, in order for the brain's growth, the brain is always learning and growing. It is a massive, beautiful piece of machinery that's in our heads, but it is constantly growing. It regenerates. It creates new nerve endings and synapses. And when you do something new, you are creating new nerve endings. Your brain is actually growing. When you try something new, it keeps the brain healthy. That's why they have all these games online, these brain games that keep you trying new things. Yeah, but when you are constantly on autopilot for your entire life, it takes the spark out of things. So if you want spark and you want to discover some joy, I would encourage you to try something new. It'll give you new perspectives. New perspectives are so beneficial, especially if you are not satisfied with your life. If your life satisfaction is low, it could simply be that you are on autopilot, and the perspectives that you have about the things that you want or life, they've become just like etched in stone. The perspectives that, oh, there aren't enough men in Los Angeles. I'm still hearing that. 6 years I've had my business, but I'm still hearing that. There aren't enough men in Los Angeles, or people think a certain way, or marketing is a whole lot different, or, all of these things, perspectives that are not serving us. Because there's some perspectives that serve us, but all these perspectives that are not serving us, doing something new will infuse, will introduce a new perspective into your world. It gives you a new reality. New realities are good, especially when you aren't happy, or especially when you're not doing the thing you claimed you really want to be doing. Okay? It's really important. And you alleviate boredom. I already said it creates new synapses in the brain. Synapses. I always have fun saying that word. And then trying new things also builds confidence. When I came back from that solo trip, I was so confident. When I did my one-woman show, I was so confident. It's wild. Whenever I go onto a new set and I'm shooting a new commercial, I have a new level of confidence. So I want you to try something new this week, this weekend. I want you to leave in the comments, what are you going to try that's new? Let us know. What are you going to try that is new? I would love to hear from you. That was our Love Intelligence Talk, awakening to new things. And I love you.